Hi guys, this is my first video for this new channel. My name is Prince of Nepal. You can call me Gunjan if you want. And this is going to be my series on VOD snapshots. So VOD snapshots is just going to be small snapshots of either mid-game or early game fights or even decisions that I really think are important and really have a big background on who wins the game and what happens throughout the game. So this is going to be of the CLG versus IMT third match. Both teams are at 1-1, and as you can see with the kill lead, we have Darshan being 2-1 on his Hecarim, while Huni is right now 1-3. So with this Darshan and Huni matchup, it really was tilted towards Darshan in the early game, where Huni decided to overstay in a bush and was forced to burn flash after a CLG invade with a 4-man. But Aframoon was able to hit a clutch binding from across the wall, which led to Huni dying. Then Huni died again. He was executed by the tower during a botched tower aggro trade, trying the lane swap, which led to Huni basically having to burn teleport to be even in gold and get the solo tower gold and XP. So as we get into the game at 7 minutes and 23 seconds, 16 minutes and 54 seconds in the VOD, which I will link down below, we see that, of course, as the clip starts, Huni is 1-3, only has a catalyst to his name, while Darshan is 2-1. We see that Darshan has a pretty big 13 CS lead, and looking at the team comps themselves, IMT built a very standard kind of comp with Pole Belcher in the mid lane with his pretty well-renowned Azir. I actually honestly think he's probably the second best Azir in North America. Maybe Phoenix, but Phoenix has been going up and down, kind of shaky. And we have Wild Turtle on the Ashe. Pretty high damage late game AD carry next to Sivir. Short range, but deals a ton with the Runaan's Hurricane, i.e. Essence Reaver 3-item Power Spike. And we have Huni on this top lane Lissandra. This top lane Lissandra is mainly used top lane Lissandra with the Reign over on Rek'Sai, one of his signature champs, and Adrian on the Karma. So those three are mainly utility and CC and setup and peel for this Pole Belter Wild Turtle comp. On the other side, we have CLG's comp with the Hecarim, Rise, both running TP, and the Gragas, Jhin, and the Morgana. So CLG really wants to do the 1-3-1 comp where Darshan and Tui get pretty far ahead, and the other three can really hold down mid lane and stop the IMT from pushing through, which I think honestly is a pretty good comp with Smithy on Gragas' disengage with his barrel. We have Jhin with the high range poke, wave clear, pretty decent. And these two comps actually fight against each other pretty well, and it's actually a pretty interesting game to watch. So starting from here at 7 minutes and 23 seconds, we have Huni doing a pretty cheeky XP leech where he's so far behind right now with the 1-3 scoreline, and Darshan's really far ahead. If you look at the levels of each, we have Huni on the top left with level 4, while Darshan's level 6 is about to ding 6 with this next minion wave, and is really far ahead. So we have Huni just trying to leech XP, trying to make sure that he can get someone into this game, but he's been put really far behind. We have Gragas coming in, so Huni really has to back off and can't over-aggress. And it looks like CLG has a pretty commanding lead. However, there are around 4 plays that really lead to CLG losing grasp of the game, the gold lead, and honestly a lot of pressure throughout the map. So we start on this play. There's going to be 2 plays that happen simultaneously, but we'll cover the top play and then we'll cover the bottom play. Both of which CLG do mess up mechanically, team-wise, and do lead to IMT getting the gold lead back. So starting with this top play, we have Wild Turtle and Adrian on this Karma Ashe. Pretty good range ranged comp, while we have CLG on Stixay on Jhin and Afro on his Morgana. So we have this play we'll go on and we'll cover later. These movements are very important, but we have Afro lands the binding on Adrian, which you can see, and he puts down the pool. Right as this happened, Adrian does do the mantra Q to stop the aggression from happening from the CLG bot lane. And something really important to see that you can see on the screen, Wild Turtle dings 6 as one of the melee minions in the front dies. This is really important, and it turns the tide of this fight. But honestly, I don't think it matters as much as they made it out to be on the broadcast. If you really look at it, Stixay is walking back through this Karma queue while Afro is juking forward. This shows this kind of like weird, I don't know. This is a split call where if the play keeps going, right here Wild Turtle barrages him with the flurry of his Ranger's focus and forces the flash on Stixay. However, Afro gets Karma W, but Afro keeps walking up. He's not exhausting like Adrian did, which Adrian will do right here. And he doesn't really walk back or even use any of his sums to just disengage this fight, which they've already been chunked out and lose. Afro right here gets hit by the volley. You see the 110 crit, and just either doesn't. He should have, like Adrian did, to exhaust Stixay to reduce the amount of damage he did to the duo. Afro should have either done that or right here needs to flash, because he just honestly isn't respecting the damage of this bottom lane of Ashe and Karma. And you can't even blame Afro that much because Stixay also has heal during this entire play. And Stixay never burns heal to save his support. So it's kind of miscommunication on both of them, which leads to Afro dying and to the top lane tower being chunked heavily, which plays a part in as the play goes on and as the game goes on to the mid game. So this play happens, and then we'll get to this play. So as we can see right here, this is going to be a replay which they show up, and honestly is a better showing of what happens during the game. Actually, well, let's go back a little bit and we'll show how exactly the map movements happen here. So if we move back before this play happens, we see that Azir right here, Azir shoves in the wave and backs. Hui's just getting to lane, which is really important because it feels like CLG underestimate how much time Hui has to come back to lane and then roam down to bot. And you can see that there's a pretty large minion wave that is accumulating with this by this Hecarim, and he's trying to shove this into tower to deny Huni as much CS as possible. And Xmithy is also coming over, as you can see on the map, to basically stop Huni from soaking up any of the 6 speed or the gold. Rainover obviously knows that this is going to happen and has to head bot side to stop this dive from happening. So as the play continues, we see Rainover ulti over to Wraiths, and he starts heading down. We don't need to see the gameplay right now because it's mainly just the top lane play. So we have Hui shove in the wave mid and then immediately starts heading bot side. We have pings by CLG on the Sonder, and you can tell that by how Hui goes down and the pings by IMT, they know that CLG is trying to either dive this or deny Huni as much XP and gold as possible. But this is where CLG kind of gets lackadaisical, because as you can see in this play, Hui gets pinged out the entire time, and Pobelter has enough time to shove this wave back out and to head bot, and you'll see in the play that he has enough time to where Hui is by the Tribush, which is warded and is pinged out and is tremor sensed by the Rek'Sai. Hui kind of just, as we can see in the gameplay, he kind of just hovers around the Tribush ward, and just either CLG isn't communicating to Hui that, not CLG specifically, but Xmithy in this case, isn't communicating to Hui that he wants to go in and kill Huni, and Hui isn't either communicating to the Xmithy how far or how close he is to this fight. So as the replay plays out, we have Hui. He's still hovering over by the tri-bush. However, as you can see in the minimap, Pobelter is almost gonna get down to the bot lane outer tower. Also, during this entire fight, Pobelter never uses shifting sands or his soldiers to use for mobility. He just kind of walks down here, and this dive, if it was going to happen, should have happened 10-15 seconds ago, so Pobelter would never have been able to come in. But CLG kind of do this really weirdly, because they know that they know that after POB shoved in the way, that he's coming bot. They have to know that IMT can predict this play. So as the play goes on, Hui kind of just sits around. This is really important. Xmithy drunken rages, and then as he walks up, he just E's them. These two should not be in this position, but because Pobelter's so close, it's fine for them to be here. But as the play continues, Xmithy belly slams into them and then ults to divide Rainover from Huni, knocking Huni to the side of this. Huni gets instantly over to the wall. This is where I feel like the mistake happened. You can see on the bottom that Darshan has ult and should have popped it to basically CC lock Huni and kill him before the play starts, to even stop this play from ever going badly. But Darshan either doesn't respect that Huni can stop him, or he thinks that Hui, the mid laner for CLG, really hard, is close enough to where he can snare and stop Huni from basically either flashing out or using his snare to stop any incoming damage. So Huni plays this pretty well. Huni gets the double snare on Darshan and Xmithy. This stops Darshan's charge and stops Darshan from ever using ulti. Hui is so far away from this play that he has to flash to just root Huni. And as the play continues, Rainover does a fantastic knockup again on Xmithy and Darshan, which CC locks Darshan from ever participating in this fight. If you could see damage from this fight, I would assume that Darshan probably deals 0 to nobody. Pobelter again goes for the flash ult and then knocks up Darshan and Xmithy, which leads to Darshan being CC locked. He also gets exhausted as well. CC locked and just... oh yeah, he doesn't get exhausted, my bad. But he gets CC locked and just dies. Then Xmithy is way too far in the tower and just dies as well. This is a really awful play for CLG. They must know that Pobelter is coming down after shoving in the way. They have vision of him clearing the minions and heading bot side. So why did CLG not execute the play either quicker or just make the play so that it wasn't about killing Huni, but it was more about just denying him as much CS as possible? Either play could have worked out, and even if they're going to take this line of play, they should have just been more decisive and had Darshan ult Huni right as he gets out of the Gragas barrel, because they know that the flash is up on Huni. Huni could have either flashed away instantly or with his smarts used his snare and made enough time for Pobelter to come in and kill both of them. This gives Pobelter a huge lead in this game and really is probably the first play that causes this tempo to swing towards IMT. So this back to regular time, we'll see this play out, and then we see this dive happen, which will go back again to the replay. So 6x6 around under tower, and you can see how low the tower gets because of the failed communication by Afro and Stixay, which led to Afro dying. So then Stixay sticks around, and Stixay, because of the wave coming out, probably thinks he can defend it. This is where this dive goes wrong. So Adrian uses all of his mana for the Mantra Q to slow down Stixay, but it's not enough damage, and Adrian doesn't have any more mana to use any other ability on Wild Turtle or on Stixay to kill him. So Stixay all has to do is runs behind tower. You can see that bouncing grenade hits both of them, tags them for a decent amount of damage. Right here, that volley, you can see the volley shots going through. That volley, there are 2 caster minions that block 2 volley shots that would have hit Stixay and led to his death, which is a really unlucky play, honestly. I assume that IMTs probably thought that the 2 minions would have died to minion damage, and then the volley would have hit, which then the continuing flurry shots from Ranger's focus would have killed Stixay, and then the second would have also added to Stixay's death. However, even with this play, even if they had gotten the kill, it's pretty greedy because IMT would have had to still burn both the flash and heal on Ash and the flash on Karma. The play may be worth, but all you're burning on Stixay is the heal. So you've already burned flash from the level 6, which you could have abused later with your summer spell advantage. And now, because of how the play turned out and the unlucky caster minions, this leads to just Stixay just gunning down Wild Turtle, who could not have dodged either up, which would have led to him getting hit by the dodge shots on the left, or down, which would have been too slow and gotten hit by the Stixay shots anyway. So again, really bad play, honestly, by... not bad, but just too greedy of a play by the bot lane of IMT. Not worth at all. So we have Pobelter and Rainover right here, shoving in with Huni and then taking the blue buff from CLG. However, you can see Hecarim has TP. He never burned it ever. So as Huni is clearing this wave, which Huni desperately needs to catch up, in my opinion, what should have happened was that IMT's bot lane shouldn't have greeted when Huni needs this wave to basically survive and stay even with Darshan. They should have either backed off, or Huni should have came with the Azir and Rek'Sai to help with the blue buff and then the escape afterward. However, Darshan again teleports into the back ward, which then leads to this. Darshan just comes in with the E. Hui comes in. Hui does get exhausted now. That's when the exhaust from Pobelter gets burned, but Pobelter's too far in. The E knocks him out, and the following ult leads to death of Huni. Now, if you're looking at this play, you'd probably be like, well, that tower per dive probably didn't matter now, because Darshan is so far ahead, but CLG really play this wave management game and this mid game where Darshan is so powerful really badly. So now, this is one of the replays, which I had skipped to before, go through. So now if you're looking at it, it really leads to Darshan in a massive lead over Huni. He's 4-2-0 while Huni's 1-4-2. We'll just skip over this play. We've watched all of this. And then the persisting tower dive as well. So now we look at this. Okay. Again, this is just Pobelter getting caught a little bit by Afromu's binding, close call. Not much happens through here, but there's a moment in this game where CLG, whoever is either shot calling or asking Darshan to come, or even Darshan himself, leads to a lot of missed golden opportunities for CLG. So you can see here, Darshan gets this tower very low. Huni cannot contest Darshan at all. Huni is 47 CS to 70 CS. Darshan is really close to getting his Triforce and basically being at a point where he can just steamroll Huni down. Rainover needs to be in this lane at almost all times if Huni is in that lane to just stop Darshan from tower diving and killing Huni multiple times. So it looks grim for the top lane on the side of Immortals. However, there's going to be a comeback play that Immortals do that is really important to the state of the game. So we can see here, this tower that was taken earlier that was chunked by Ashe because of the Afromu death really now dies. And Afromu is still on the bot side assisting with and trying to deny Huni as much CS as possible. This is when IMT's shot calling of if we hit the go button, we hit the go button comes into effect and is really, really nice. So going back to here, we can see on the map 2 pings on Stixay. They know Stixay does not have flash up still, and that Darshan had teleported in for that double kill. Huni still does have teleport, as you can see in the game, and he has his ult as well. So it looks like IMT make the call to basically dive Stixxay, and because Afromu's still in the mid side, Stixxay has to use his ult to wave clear. As this ult happens, Wildturtle does a really nice play where he ults Stixxay and he knows that it's a fixed position for the Jhin curtain call. So he ults Stixxay, and right as it happens, Karma comes in with the exhaust and the W and roots Stixxay down and basically stops him from moving for enough of the TP channel time. Here's where I think Stixxay made a mistake. Stixxay's flash comes up at the end of this play, around right here. If Stixxay flashes here, he should be able to escape. However, Stixxay instead uses his Q and his dancing grenade plus his, I can't remember Jin's W, my bad, but he uses his W, and that was precious time he could have used to honestly just walk away, because there was no CC that was hitting him. The exhaust had worn off, and Karma's W had also worn off. So Stixxay just gets killed by Huni. You'd think that's the worst of it, but if you look at the bottom side of the map, things even get worse for CLG. Whoever is calling Darshan's play, basically Darshan, instead of shoving in this wave and getting that bot tower, which we had shown was really chunked, Darshan makes the call to basically run up through from bot inner all the way to top outer, which would have been the only place he would have been able to cut them off if IMT had retreated. And if you look at the health bars for Wild Turtle and Adrian, both of them are chunked enough to where IMT will retreat in this play. So we'll watch the play and just honestly the minimap. You can see Afro's the only person that's even close enough to contest and do anything. We have two mid laners, basically the mid laner and the jungler for CLG running up, and Darshan is still not even close. He's still by red buff, as IMT just gets to walk out freely. Darshan, instead of taking an entire 2.5 minion waves, a farm, and a bot lane outer tower, he decides to head top for nothing. We can watch the gameplay again, and we'll see just the massive difference between what could have happened and what did happen for CLG. If you go back all the way to where this play started out, you can see Darshan has 76 CS, and this number won't change for a good 2.5 minutes because CLG and Darshan especially decides to just roam instead of pushing his lead and ever getting that Triforce. This Triforce, which should have been completed probably around now after he gets this tower, gets completed in like 2.5 minutes. A huge misplay by CLG, and really lets to Huni, who at this point has just become an ult bot, get back into this game. So at this point, Darshan just heads back to lane and just recalls and then heads back. Just a waste of time for Darshan. And you'll see that Darshan again heads bot. This play will happen again. Really great Ashe arrow and play by Adrian, and then the follow up by Huni. So again, Darshan is now at 78 CS. He's gotten 2 minions, and he's again having to head up to stop IMT from pushing into this tower. This tower again was chunked because Hui had died in that bot lane play, which we featured earlier. So CLG trying at their hardest to defend, and Darshan again being pulled up to stop this instead of taking that bot outer tower. Darshan in total has missed 3.5 minion waves because he's trying to roam and trying to create opportunities for his team. But instead of using his teleport to create opportunities, he's just walking up, which puts no pressure on Huni to ever go down there, which is just leading to Huni just sitting with his team in a 5-man and flash ulting whoever he wants. Again, play is called off by IMT smartly, and Darshan has to go back bot lane. If you look at the map, this wave by CLG is starting to slow push into that bot inner tower. And because Darshan, for the next 2 minutes, will never hard push on that tower, that wave is just absorbed by IMT members for free. IMT basically gets another surge of gold because Darshan isn't able to hard push this wave into tower. And CLG, especially as a team, just keep calling for Darshan instead of letting Darshan push his lead and create this massive opportunity in this top side. As mentioned by Azael on the broadcast, it felt like CLG was playing the game for what their comp, which they drafted, not what happened in the game. In the game, Darshan was 4-2-0. In draft, CLG wants to get Rise ahead, wants to get Stixay ahead to really boost up that three man and boost up the Rise split push, which Huni could not have dealt with, or neither could have Pole Belter, which would have really created opportunities for CLG. But in the game, Darshan's the one that got the 4 kills. So you have to play around Darshan. You can't be just trying to force this comp. You have to play around what is given to you. So Darshan, after we counted 12-19 was the time when I told you he had 76 CS, he has only completed 1 item. He still hasn't even finished Triforce. This is a huge boon for CLG. As the game plays on, you'll see Darshan takes this wave bot lane, but this wave will just, after he takes it, will just get absorbed by Wild Turtle, who's just heading down bot lane. CLG again try to clear out mid lane, and Wild Turtle just gets to soak up this free wave. Huni is being gifted that top wave on the top side, and it feels like CLG just keep not pressuring with Darshan's early lead. It feels like they're just letting IMT take it slow, give Huni the amount of CS he needs to get relevant, and allow Pole Belter in the mid lane to carry. This now goes on to this pretty smart play by CLG. They decide, because Wild Turtle was headed bot to soak up that CS, and Huni had headed top and had no TP because of that Jhin play, they could rush down this mid lane. They don't have enough damage for it, which just leads to a mistake by CLG on the upcoming moments. Really nice Black Shield by Aphromoo, which prevents the Asher from hitting Smithy, but Smithy gets chunked. Now it allows IMT to just hard push in mid lane. Darshan tries to go hard for Huni, but it felt like he used his Devastating Charge too quickly, and during Devastating Charge, which is a knockback, you cannot use Lysandre's E. If he had used it at just maybe a fraction of a second later, it would have forced Huni to not be able to take the claw and die here in this play. Also, if he had taken it earlier, it might have caused Huni to click his E too quickly, which would have led him to be placed in range of Hui in front of this wall. However, Huni does get lucky and does get the claw through right at the time. Now, if you didn't see in the play, Hui did burn flash to just get into range for Huni. He burns flash right here, trying to get the snare off so that the claw doesn't take over. But Hui is not in range, which just leads to another submersible disadvantage for CLG. Now CLG is caught out in bad place, and Hui does get chunked for it. However, they should be able to defend her, yes? Stixay pops ult because Hui isn't there to wave clear. And Xmithy is way too chunked to be able to walk up and throw a barrel and Drunken Rage and clear the wave out. So Stixay has to ult to basically wave clear and stop this push from IMT. Honestly, CLG should have probably given up this mid tower, because to hold this mid tower, it leads to a really disastrous fight, which causes IMT, which were already in the gold lead, to even balloon that gold lead, and all of the gold lead that Darshan had to basically fizzle away. So this play continues. And it looks like Rainover gets chunked. But as Darshan walks up, and as Stixay walks up, Stixay basically tries to walk up too far and gets chunked and pays the price for it. Wild Turtle heads bot to push in the wave, and again, Pole Belter keeps shoving in the wave and has enough vision in the top side and the bottom side jungle to play this aggressively. Pole Belter just walks away. Adrian probably didn't need to burn flash, but who knows how hard CLG would have gone for it. So IMT and CLG reset for a bit. Darshan finally finishes Trinity Force. Oh, let me get to that point. Darshan finally finishes Trinity Force 3 minutes and 40 seconds later, after having 2 components and enough gold for the last component. It takes him 4 minutes and 40 seconds almost to finish this Triforce, and that level lead that Darshan had over Huni, which was at a point 2 levels, is now only shrunk to 1 level. And Huni has the Roa. He has the item he needs to basically scale up and become the CC bot that he needs for the team. This is a really smart play by Huni. Huni flashes over this wall due to this ward that had been placed earlier to chunk and burn Stixay's flash. This is really important in the upcoming fights because Stixay almost gets to the point of death. He's at 71 health. And this is a point where CLG needs to drop this tower. CLG needs to tell themselves and say, this tower is not worth defending and we will not win the upcoming fight. However, whoever's shot calling for CLG, don't make that call. If you can see in the bottom right, Darshan decides to, instead of, again, pushing out this wave and just letting go of that tower, he decides to TP in behind him. Also, next to a pink ward by IMT. So they know that Darshan is where's Darshan's TP. So as the fight continues, Xmithie tries to go for the flash barrel play. He's already chunked in the fight. Gets nobody in. Knocks Pobelter and Adrian out of range of any of CLG's damage dealers besides Huhi, which will get exhausted as the fight continues. Rainover gets hit by the snare, but as Huhi tries to unload his entire combo on Pobelter and below them is Wild Turtle, Huhi just gets exhausted. So now we have a tank that is chunked, Stixay who had already burned his ultimate and now is still super chunked and was almost dropped to 71 health trying to defend this tower. This fight continues right here. They need to leave. CLG just needs to cut their losses after this. They've tried to defend this tower, which was already low, with a 80 carry who had almost no health, and 2 damage dealers, which were Darshan and Huhi. Huhi, again, just dies for free, with Afromu dying as well. Darshan is just about to enter this fight, and will clean up 1 kill on Rainover, who is tanking tower, but then just gets Ash arrowed and dies as well. Huni cleans up the top side of the fight, and CLG just lose all momentum from all of the early game wins they had. Darshan's lead over Huni is gone. Hui's lead over any of them are gone. 4 plays, 4 mistakes. Darshan not being able to wave manage and using just walking up from that bot inner tower to top outer. Instead of shoving in the wave, getting the tower for his team, and ballooning his gold lead, he just sat there and basically wasted 2.5 minutes of his time doing absolutely nothing. IMT was able to play really well around the failing Huni in the early game, and really set him up to basically take any free minion waves that were possible, get that free kill on Stixay in the top side, and made it so that Huni, even though he was super far behind, became a relevant CC bot that was able to chunk out prime and key members on CLG and burn their summoner spells as well. Another mistake, CLG felt like on both the top side play with Stixay and Afromu and the bottom side play with Darshan, Xmithie, and Huhi, just felt like they weren't communicating on the same page in this particular game. Stixay and Afromu didn't look like one of them wanted to leave, which was Stixay, and Afromu still wanted to go in. Stixay never healed Afromu, and Afromu never exhausted or flashed in that play, which was super greedy. On the bottom side play, Darshan, Xmithie, and Huhi didn't communicate that they wanted to go for the play themselves. They acted as though... Oh, we can see the play, actually. I think this is probably the biggest turning point in the game. What really leads to the CLG's loss in this game. So this is after the teleport play. Okay, right here. This play, the fact that Huhi is still hovering that Tribush ward and Xmithie goes in right now, uses ult on Huni, but Darshan never ults to keep the CC lock going. See, CLG basically just get wiped under this tower and just give so much gold to POB that just causes this game to go out of flux. CLG felt like it wasn't their team comp or anything like that, because I felt like the team comps matched pretty evenly with each other. It was their map play, their minion management, and the fact that they couldn't and honestly didn't want to allocate more resources on Darshan to let him carry through the game. And Darshan, it felt like instead of trying to balloon his lead and force Huni basically to become a hermit that just used his ult to save his teammates, he just kind of ran around and did nothing. If you have any more suggestions on what VODs I should watch, please put them in the comments down below. And thank you for watching my first VOD snapshot. Criticism is always helpful, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.